Hello everybody and welcome to episode 2 of the Dark Souls 3 playthrough / guide. This is the Alchemist here and we are moving on to Firelink Shrine today. First things first, we have a couple pieces of audio to listen to, a little bit of story, and then we'll be moving on to the items you can get in Firelink Shrine. Not too much to grab just yet, but first things first, let's talk to Hawkwood.
Ah, another one roused from the sleep of death. Well, you're not alone. We unkindled are worthless. Can't even die right. Gives me conniptions. And they'd have us seek the lords of Cinder and return them to their moulding thrones. But we are talking true legends with the metal to link the fire. We're not fit to lick their boots. Don't you think? What a sick joke. Asking us to seek the lords of Cinder and return them to their moulding thrones. We're talking truth.
Seeing my dog wanted to be able to get into the recording there. She's sitting in the background just shaking a bit.
A pleasure to make thine acquaintance, Ashen One. I am but a humble handmaid of the shrine. Weapons, armor, trinkets, and spells. I've lots of little things to ease the burden of a weary traveler. And yes, I'm undead too, but not so charitable as to give my goods away. Ashen One, fetch souls and bring them to me. As is thy wont, no?
So if you're wondering why there was a weird cut there, it's because the first time through I accidentally ended up attacking her with my sword because I realized I hadn't muted my mic audio yet. Yeah, that was a fun experience to say the least.
Well, a newcomer, I see. I am Andre. I serve at this shrine as a humble smith, forging weapons. You're in search of the Lords of Cinder, I trust? A toilsome journey, I'd wager. You'll require good arms. Let me smith you weapons. I am a smith, such is my purpose. Pretty be careful. I don't want to see my work squandered.
Alright, always nice to see Andre back. He was such a lovable character in Dark Souls 1, seeing him return. I'm not exactly sure how he manages to still be here after however long it's been since the original Dark Souls, which apparently has been a while. But it's still lovely to have him. And it is the same Andre, in case you're wondering. There's some dialogue later which shows that he has memories of Dark Souls 1. So, yeah, he's aged pretty well, all things considered. Here we're going to try to do something a little bit cheeky. We're going to go for the skip, and we end up missing it on the first time. Because, of course, my non-recorded playthrough, I got it perfect, but you know how these things are. Either way, we're up here now. That's not too hard to do. You just kind of have to practice getting the angle right, and just run up at the right side of that tree and jump, and it should be able to get it down in no time. And over here, we'll be able to meet another favorite NPC, Pickle Pea the Crow.
Me, Pickle Pea. Me, Bumperum.
At least it's referred to in the wiki as Pickle Pea Pumperum, but that just seems like a mouthful to say. Either way, we'll get into more on her later when we actually need to use her for trading. As for now, we'll just pick up that Estus shard that we just got, which is really nice, can really help out. We're not actually going to use it yet because High Wall's pretty easy, we're not going to need it. But hop over here and we can grab the covetous silver serpent ring. It's nice, it gives you extra souls. Don't equip it here because I just kind of forgot about it. Bit of a silly idea, and then I for some reason think there's going to be an illusionary wall there. Yeah, a little bit rusty on Firelink Shrine and doing this 100% playthrough, as you could imagine. Either way, we're pretty much ready to skip one over to the high wall now and start the real meat of this episode. Got all the housekeeping here done. And we're here at the high wall. It's kind of weird. You start off in this like tower room. There's not even a bonfire, so I'm not exactly sure how you get teleported. I don't even think it's actually even described in any of the items how it happens. You just kind of end up here. And at this point, it's when I realized I hadn't leveled up any strength yet to be able to wield the Uchigatana, which is what we're going to be using throughout this run. And I try to run back, realizing, oh wait, there isn't a bonfire there. And then I have to run forward to the actual bonfire, which is right in front of us. Well, at least we do get to see this beautiful view. High Wall of Lothric is an amazing looking area. The cathedral's absolutely brilliant, and all the archways are just awesome to look at, even from a distance. But now we get to deal with some real fun. First off, chair physics, yay, my favorite. But also we get to have some fun with doggos, as you can see. And you know it's going to be a good time whenever you see these guys pop up. Best thing to do against these guys, just lure one at a time. They're pretty simple. One dodge away, as soon as you dodge away, start attacking. Because they have a decent cooldown on their attack, and as long as you get them once, you should be able to get them with a second attack. If you have a heavy sword, you might end up knocking them away from you, which can be kind of annoying, but you can just roll forward and attack again, and you'll be fine. Go ahead and quick fire bombs here, because we are going to be running up against a Puss of Man hollow here soon. For now, we got killed Axe Dude over here, who's absolute joke. The easiest way to take care of these guys is to go for backstabs, but you don't even really have to do that. Gets lucky on the Titanite shard drop. I don't actually know what the chance of that happening is, but it's pretty good. Over here, I actually used the parry correctly for like the first time in forever. Maybe the first, yeah, it's the first parry since Udex Gundyr I've actually hit. So, and another Titanite shard too. I mean, these things are dropping like crazy right now. If I wish I had that luck on my first playthrough, it would have made it a lot easier. Alright, so go ahead and you're going to make sure you want to be topped off for this, because this guy is really difficult. The best thing to do is actually kill him before he transforms, but for the sake of the guide, I decided to actually show off how you fight him normally. As you can see, much like Udex Gundyr, it's very hard to read his moves, but unlike Udex, even if you watch his body, you still can't quite tell what's going to happen. So just sit back and throw a couple firebombs stun him, and then you can get in, deal some damage, and try not to get freaking one-shot. The guy does over half your health in one attack. That is why you want to be pretty much topped off whenever fighting this guy. But again, just repeat the process, throw the firebomb, get up in there, and right here, should be able to finish him off, and didn't have stamina. Get absolutely smashed, roll around a bit there. That was it. And what do you get for all of this terrible trouble? A longbow. 12 arrows. Yay? Not exactly worth it. You do get a Titanite shard and number off of him, which is, I guess, okay, but considering how difficult he is to fight, I almost wish that they would give you more of an incentive to go after him. Mainly, I think he's just there to kind of scare the crap out of you. He's mainly just there as like a bait. You shouldn't have to go over that way. If you're going through on multiple playthroughs, you can just kill him really quick or just grab the longbow and run. And of course, we're going to have to sit down at the bonfire again because he has absolutely depleted us of all of our Estus. Because he's not going to be the only one that we see in this episode, trust me. And we head over this way to the proper route for progression. And you see a lot of these hollows just kind of like kneeling on the ground praying to these angel-like creatures. Oh, great backstab, by the way. Forgot about that happening. They're praying to these angel-like creatures, and it's really kind of disturbing. And actually, it's part of the challenge of this area, because sometimes you'll have enemies hiding within these groups of otherwise non-hostile hollows, like this guy over here, who, if you're not paying attention to, can actually do a decent number on you. This lady here, when she screams, actually summons him, or at least gets his attention. Greatest parry lord ever, by the way, of course, as we all know. The best in the world. We all saw it against Gundyr. Yeah. So over this way you have another one of the screaming ladies. Just take her out real quick. You don't have to worry about any of the people that she ends up calling up. And we're gonna head up here for a really nice item that I actually never got on my first couple of playthroughs, because I just never thought to walk up this way. I never even got up on this tower before, because I didn't even know like that hidden path off to the side of it. I never noticed before. But you get the binoculars. They're not particularly helpful, but if you want to be able to look at something in the distance, they can be pretty cool. It really helps to take in the beautiful sights of Dark Souls. This is an amazing looking game. Either way, you head up by the Dragon's Wing over here, and you can drop down and pick up yourself some gold pine resin, I believe is what they have sitting here. Remember the first time playing through the game, trying to look up there and not being able to figure out how to do it. I tried jumping and pressing A to see if I could grab it. You gotta go up and go around the side like that. There are a couple hollows waiting in here to ambush you. As long as you're playing like you should be, which is slow and looking around corners, you shouldn't have any trouble with these guys. They're pretty simple. As long as you don't get caught off guard, you're fine. And you get a preview of the area that's coming up. And the area that's coming up is certainly a fun one. You have a dragon. And dragons in Dark Souls have a bit of an issue with just not being fun fights most of the time. I remember the Hellkite Drake in Dark Souls 1. Even once you got him to come down, which would take forever sometimes, he was still just really annoying to fight. It almost one-shot you. Right there, I showed why I actually wanted to switch over to the Katana. That's the fact that the Sellsword Twin Blades that we had actually doesn't have that kick attack. It has this weird like attack and then kick back, like backflip, I guess. As I was talking about in the first episode. And as you can see, having that kick is actually really helpful. It means you don't have to wait for that guy to attack. You can just knock his shield down. Right here's the dragon I was speaking of. He actually doesn't take out all the enemies, which is a little annoying. But easy enough to kill those guys. You definitely want to be able to kind of beat him here on your first time, so that way you don't have to worry about the fire at all. And then we come down here to a chest, and the notes on the floor should give you a bit of a warning of what's coming up, and this is also a good time to use the binoculars. If you look at this chest, you'll notice that it's actually kind of moving a bit, like it's breathing, and also the chain is kind of pointed towards you. And when you see that, that means that that chest is a mimic, as you'll see. So the best thing to do is charge up a big attack and start swinging. These guys can do a ton of damage. Early to late game, doesn't matter what your build is, these guys hurt. If you get hit by that grab attack, which I don't know how I avoided that one. If you get hit by that, you might as well be dead unless you're playing the full tank. Now, aside from that, they're pretty simple. Aside from this guy who is an actual god who goes for a huge roundhouse kick and just absolutely flattens me, almost kills me and combos me there. But aside from that, they're really not that hard. You just want to don't get too greedy. Just do one attack, wait for him to attack, follow it up with one or two. If he does the grab, you can usually get two in. And right there, I knew I had enough damage and stamina to just finish him off real quick. And whenever you kill him, you end up picking the Deep Battle Axe up, which is a really good weapon in the early game. Can pretty much help you until you find the actual weapon that you want, because that Deep Battle Axe does over 200 damage. It is split between physical and dark, but I still enjoy it quite a bit. And then you have some hollows over here who are nothing, and then you have someone who is a bit of a challenge, and that'd be this Lothric Knight here. As long as you just stay calm and walk, you'll be able to get right by him, which actually works against quite a few enemies in this game. When in doubt, take it slow, it can save your life. Seriously. We aggroed that guy who I think gets stuck somewhere, because you can hear him as we're sitting up here, but he never comes up. He's just kind of like sitting somewhere making noise, being weird, which I guess is, I mean, it's his right to do so. I'm not going to stop him, but it is really strange. Either way, we'll go ahead and get that bonfire there, which is a surprisingly close bonfire to the first one. I almost maybe would prefer if it was a bit further along. It's pretty easy to get through that area, I'd say. But now we're going to try taking on this Lothric Knight. I don't think there's any real reason to, but it's a bit of a challenge, and we're going to be facing these guys later, so getting the practice in is definitely important. The best way to take care of a Lothric Knight is definitely the parry, but as you can see, it's a lot easier said than done. Unlike Silver Knights, they have a much wider range of attacks in this game. And this fight is just going terrible. I don't know what I'm trying to do over here. I think I finally do get the parry on this last attack, though. Let's see. Yeah, there it is. So the problem with Lothric Knights versus Silver Knights that makes them so hard to be able to parry is that Silver Knights are very consistent, right? Like, they'll swing their sword, and that's what they do. They just swing the sword. They don't buff, they don't do anything. In Dark Souls 1, at least. Dark Souls 2 is a bit different, but... or Dark Souls 3 is a bit different, but Dark Souls 1, they just attack pretty plainly. Nothing too special. The problem with Lothric Knights is they'll do a shield bash, which of course can't be parried, And they also have these weapon arts that they'll use as well, which can throw off your parry timing because they'll wait for a second before using it and it comes out just super quick. So they end up becoming an actual real challenge to try to kill, especially if you're coming from Dark Souls 1 and have gotten used to that Silver Knight moveset. Here I decided to try to use my bow to get rid of this dragon. From what I understand, you can't actually kill him, but after you do enough damage, he will fly away, which is even more unsatisfying than the Hellkite Drake in Dark Souls 1. But I don't actually have enough arrows. I thought that the longbow and the arrows they gave you were just enough to be able to send him flying away. Turns out I miscalculated that completely. So after I completely failed that attempt, I go to walk through the normal way and end up getting hurt by fire because I'm just not paying any attention, I guess. The reason we're going to head over here though is there are actually a couple items back on the bridge, the fiery bridge that we ran through earlier. And it's going to be a little bit annoying to get these. If you're smart about it, you'll be able to grab the items without too much worry about what's happening, but it still can be a bit annoying, especially if you're new to it and you don't have the timing down. First things you're going to want to do though is get these guys killed, because you really don't want them messing with you. You want to be able to bait the dragon into spewing his fire so that he can kill all of them for you, which is what I tried to do here. But turns out one guy is just really taking cover, being smart about it, just annoying me. But he's easy enough to take out, and give it a second for the fire to dissipate and run out and grab your items. Over here, the first item you're going to get is going to be the club. Not exactly anything special. It's a weapon. I mean, maybe you could use it for like a soul level 1 playthrough. I don't generally recommend it in a normal playthrough. And you also get the Claymore, which in Dark Souls 1 at least, and I believe in Dark Souls 3 as well, has an S scaling with being blessed or dark. Whenever you get it to +10, which is really nice. I know in Dark Souls 1 you get an S scaling with it being on a cult, and I use it on a Pyromancer Faith class. So it's actually a really nice weapon. It looks amazing, and it has a pretty cool moveset. Over here, the dragon decides to be a true bro and help us out by killing everybody, except for, of course, the crossbow man, who is a Dovahkiin, so, you know, he makes sense. Weirdly, you can actually walk through this fire for some reason. All the other fire on the bridges will hurt you, but for some reason, this fire here on this little side path is not doing any damage to you. Although I am not complaining, considering how annoying the fire is with where it's at already. Either way, because we're really good at this video game, we're already out of Estus, and we're going to go and stop at the bonfire again to re-up our Sunny D, as it were. So that way we can get a couple more sips out of it. Will probably be a good time to go level, but feeling a bit cocky right now, and honestly, there's not too much up ahead that should kill us. Be careful again around this guy. You really don't want to aggro that Lothric Knight into here when you're trying to fight these assassins. These guys are pretty easy on their own. When there's a Lothric Knight trying to kill you too, it can be a lot more hectic. Walk out onto here, and it's a little frustrating because Dark Souls controls aren't great, but you get a couple of fireballs, which will be really useful in the upcoming area because of an enemy that we're going to be fighting soon. These guys can drop the throwing knives every once in a while as well, which is good because you can use that to draw enemies. Or actually, there's a path down here. There's a ladder we could take to get down to the kind of lower area. We're not going to use that just yet because we're going to want to get the cell key to be able to free Grey Rat first, which I don't believe we actually end up doing in this episode. We're going to be doing that later on as kind of a cleanup thing. And I'm not like marking down on the kind of sidebar that I've been putting up for all the main items. I'm not marking down any souls or any key items on that yet. Mainly because there's, first off, just way too many souls in this game, and it's really not that big of a deal if you find them or not, because you can just grind souls off enemies. And when it comes to like key items, most of them are things that you're forced to pick up, so I don't see a reason to mark them. And things like a Ring of Sacrifice are so useless that I don't even see them being worth the time. Over here is the strategy I was talking about earlier, where you could just run up and kill those pus of man creatures, which is the name of those giant black serpent creature that we fought earlier. Just go up and attack him before he transforms. And Crystal Lizards, what you're going to want to do is do a jumping heavy attack, and then that'll knock it on its back, allowing you to just do one normal attack, and it should be dead. The best way to do that is just to run it and press R1. If you try to do like the forward R1 thing, you'll end up like what I did there and just heavy attack nothing and completely miss, because those things are really fast. Over here you have an annoying crossbow man who just wants to hang out and annoy you while you try to fight a Lothric Knight. But head back inside, and there's a pretty like nice area through here when it comes to loot. You got a lot of good stuff coming up. The first 100% block shield that you can get. I don't believe the Shrine Handmaiden sells anything with 100% block on it. Be careful not to follow that guy out through there, by the way, because that assassin will absolutely cuck you with a backstab. You get a nice Titanite shard, which, I mean, normally I'd be super excited about, but we've been having so many drop that it's not even that big of a deal. I mean, this little dude back here hiding an Undead Hunter's Charm, which you can use on Mimics, which would have been really useful earlier, not really so much so now. And now you get the Spear Lothric Knights. Jesus, if you thought the Sword Lothric Knight was bad, this guy's even worse. He is so frustrating to fight. He has this great shield that is almost impenetrable, and just he does so much damage, has so much range, has so much stamina as well. His weapon art is super annoying. He's hard to parry. He seems to use his shield even more than the sword version does. I mean, it's just a difficult fight every time you run into any of these guys, but yeah, just follow the old Dark Souls mantra, take it slow and you don't have too much of an issue. I actually get the Lothric Knight Great Shield here, which it's alright. You know, it's a pretty lucky drop to get anything from those guys. They seem to have a pretty low drop rate, which makes trying to get their set really frustrating. I've done it before, it's not fun. This area is filled with a lot of ambushes like that as well. Which, I mean, it's alright because they're just kind of small hollows, but it can be kind of annoying at times when out of nowhere you're getting attacked by a bunch of like low health enemies. Just like, it's kind of a take it or leave it thing. It reminds me of the lower Undead Burg where assassins would hop out and try to attack you. I mean, this entire area is pretty much Undead Burg. Except for with Undead Burg, it was a bit different. You started out at the bottom of Undead Burg and worked your way up through the Taurus Demon. And over here you start at the top of the high wall of Lothric and work your way down to the base of the high wall of Lothric. As you saw there, you know that this chest is not a mimic because the chain is going backwards, which is all nice and good. And down here, again, more of everyone's favorite enemies, the lovely Daggas. This guy here just kind of looks at me. I don't know what's up with him. Didn't really react very much to what was going on whatsoever. And best thing to do here, just kite these guys up here because seriously, you don't want to deal with all these guys at once. Even two of these guys can be hellish because of the amount of damage they do if they hit you. Thankfully, they're like stupidly slow, so it's not something you have to worry about. I say as I get hit like a couple times. I was saying, these guys super easy to backstab, super slow, super predictable. Just walk around them, no problem. I do kind of wish at this point that I had upgraded my Estus flask already, because being down to 1 Estus already is not good, especially considering the enemies we have coming up. It's not going to be a fun time for the old alchemist here, let me tell you. And because I am the best at this game, I do completely forget how to get to the bottom floor. As you see here, you're supposed to go down to that kind of walkway there, and I just completely mess it up and stay on the top side. But either way, you're only want to go down here because you're going to get a really nice shield. The first 100% block shield that you can access in the game if you don't start with one. And it is a shield that has the right hand skill, which is weird. Essentially, it can't parry, but you can use your weapon art. If I haven't talked about weapon arts before, that's what you do whenever you're two-handing a weapon and you hold L1 or hit L1. For our Uchi Katana, you'll see whenever I parry with it, that's actually the weapon art for this particular weapon. As we get to some more interesting weapons, I'll be able to show you more of what weapon arts really are, because at this point there's not much point to them. You get the Cell Key down here, which is awesome. Grey Rat is an amazing NPC, gets you the blue tier stone ring, and just all around a lovable character. Gets you a lot of good items throughout the game. It makes it to where you don't have to farm as much either. Because I believe he actually sells the Lothric Knight Sword, which does not drop like ever, so being able to get that just by giving up a few souls is beautiful. Oh god, ragdoll physics in Dark Souls, how I love you. And now Big Bertha is down there and we're just ready to sit on our face, so I hope you're prepared for that situation. Just be careful not to forget about this guy. He will come up behind you and sneak into that booty hole while you're trying to take on the big boy over here. And will ruin your beautiful face-sitting session. Rule number 1 of fighting this guy, like, actually have Estus. Rule number 2, just shove it right up the booty hole. But rule number 1, actually have Estus. This guy hits like a truck. I avoided here, but like, And he actually uses a move that I haven't seen him use before. I didn't know that the basic Angel Knights could use Holy Pillars of Light, but yeah, I'm pretty happy I didn't get hit by that. That could have been really annoying. Getting that backstab definitely saved me there. You have a really nice sight over here of a bunch of like headless. It's hard to tell if they're just suits of armor or corpses. I assume they're going to be corpses. And then you have like a bit of a bonfire going on there. I mean, you can just tell that this area has seen much better days. We have another. This time it's a dead Angel Knight, which is my favorite kind of Angel Knight. If I don't have to deal with it, that means I'm a pretty happy camper. And then take a moment here just to kind of look at the scene, and by that I mean I got interrupted for a moment and decided not to edit it out. But either way, there's going to be a ladder here. This will take you to, if you remember where we fought the Spear Lothric Knight, this is actually how you get back up to that area. We killed that one crossbowman, and this was the area he was guarding. There's really not much here. I believe all that's on that body is an ember. But either way, coming up from behind makes this a bit easier. Not something you really need to worry about, because it's pretty easy anyway. They're just a bunch of basic hollows. Which, I mean, this guy just overkill by, again, going right for the butt. When in doubt, go for the butt. That also works for the boss. Also, it's wrong, those fire bombs. It's still really useful to have, though. Having more fire bombs for those Pus of Man creatures can be beautiful, even though I don't think we should have to deal with them anymore. But it can be very helpful if you have to actually go back through the area, or if you missed that raw gem we got from the Titanite lizard earlier. Almost called it a Titanite demon, which is something I kind of wish was still in this game. Those Titanite demons were really fun to fight. Really hard, but like they were probably even more difficult than the Ravenous Crystal Lizards, but especially the one in Lost Isle. That guy was not a happy camper at all. Anyway, take out a couple more basic hollows, aim for the butt, just get it right up in there. And we're working our way over to the shortcut. We are almost done with the High Wall of Lothric, really. All we have left is one little base area and then the boss, which we actually won't be getting to the boss in this video because it actually drags on for a little bit. 100% playthroughs of this game tend to go on for a while. There's a lot in Dark Souls 3, especially with the DLC that's added onto it. I'm already cringing thinking about some of the areas I'm going to cover in the Ring City and trying to get all those items. Oh god. So you're going to run into these hollow dudes over here. They're pretty cool, I guess. They don't really put up too much of a fight, but they're good cannon fodder. And, oh, we get to have a fun experience right here. As you can see, down to less than a quarter health. No Estus. We actually have one Ashen Estus that I hadn't converted over yet. And, yeah, it's whatever. It's also not an illusionary wall, which is weird. It definitely looks like it should be. But yeah, so we have this big guy over here who, the Great Welcoming Committee. I somehow forgot about the 6-foot tall man standing outside of the door. Really easy to, you know, forget about this big old dude, huh? So I end up getting stabbed. Now I'm already down to like maybe less than an 1/8 of my health, like a 10th of my health or something left. And I'm so close to the bonfire. I don't want to die here. Even though if I die I can still easily go pick up my souls. It's almost like a thing of pride. So I'll take a moment to try to look to see if maybe I can like sneak through these bodies. And as you can see, it doesn't go quite too well. We're cutting it a little bit close, and now we have 2 dogs chasing us. So this is why everybody in Dark Souls loves dogs, huh? Oh god, these things do not let you go. I tried the rest of the bonfire. That dog isn't even near me, but it's so on my, like, the game just does not want to allow me. I tried to switch over to a firebomb to see to take it out. Does it work? Oh god. Alright, there you go. The dog does dip into the blocks of the stairs. Interesting tactic. It doesn't end up working out for him though. There we go ahead and actually get to spin those souls. Definitely don't want to lose 6,000 of those things. So we go back to Firelink Shrine, which, like I said, is kind of like a home in this game. Does a good job of. Like, there's just a lot of reason to come back here. A lot more than there was in Dark Souls 1. In Dark Souls 1, you pretty much never ended up at Firelink Shrine. Professional Let's Player here, having the alarm going off in the middle of the video. Anyway. We have 2 Estus Flash Shards, which is, thank God we have that. Trying to beat this game or run through this game with only 3 Estus. Even the early areas is just not enjoyable. Like, you go through the stuff real quick. I mean, this game is difficult. You're going to get hit. having 3 Estus means you're pretty much going to be taking a trip back to Firelink or to a bonfire every 10 minutes. Yeah, even though I don't enjoy the fact that you have to travel back to Firelink Shrine to be able to level up, I do understand that it does make Firelink Shrine seem more like a base of operations, and I appreciate that to a degree. I like having Andre and everybody, like all the merchants back at Firelink, kind of like what they did with Majula, but having to level up there I think is just kind of annoying. The only good thing about it is that it kind of reminds you, like, oh hey, I need to go back to Firelink. That means I have an opportunity to, you know, upgrade my Estus class or do whatever it is I need to do there. Speaking of which, we haven't gotten the any undead bone shards yet. That's actually going to be the first one comes out in Undead Settlement. And undead bone shards, if you don't know, are things that make your Estus flask do a bit more healing, which is really nice. When I first beat Dark Souls 2, I made it all the way to, I believe, Looking Glass Knight, or I might have been further than that. I might have been a Throne Launcher and Defender. But I was real far up there, either way. And I didn't know that Sublime Bone Dust could be burned at a bonfire to increase Estus Flash usages, mainly because I don't think anything tells you aside from like one item description, which I don't read item descriptions in this game, which is probably part of my problem. Yeah, either way, so I was trying to go through most of the game without ever upgrading the Estus Flask, and when I found out that I actually could, I was both really relieved and also super mad that I had gone through that entire game without once upgrading it. Right there, like I said, the jumping system in Dark Souls 3 is much improved. It's so much better than the first game. It's still not great. It's still not good. It's still so easy to mess up jumps like that. I mean, it's weird. That one, I don't think I've ever missed before. I always have trouble with the jump onto that coffin in the Cemetery of Ash, which I somehow hit my first time on this playthrough. And then of course the jump that I never missed, I ended up messing up on this playthrough, because of course. Anyway, like I was saying, this brings you back up to the Lothric Knight area. And that if we take a different route than we took last time, which I was going to go back here after we went to Grey Rat, but because we missed that jump, I decided to go ahead and do it now. If you head down to this roof, there's actually another item. It's just 3 black fire bombs. Yeah, so again, it's pretty good, especially considering there are plus of man creatures within the area, but honestly, not even that worth it. You can pretty much skip it without having to worry about it. Especially considering you have to take damage and then deal with Big Bertha again if you do it. The other item, as you will see, I guess I'll wait so that way there's a bit of suspense, but it also probably isn't quite worth it. So go ahead and pick out Crossbow Dude to number 50,000 over here. This game loves arrows, trust me. Wait till we get to Smoldering Lake. Anyway, yeah, Ring of Sacrifice. That is an item as in Dark Souls 1 and 2. I believe 1 and 2 also had rare Rings of Sacrifices that Dark Souls 3 does not. All you have to do is you equip it and you won't lose your souls whenever you die. Exciting. The rare Ring of Sacrifice used to allow you to not lose health when you die. Like in Dark Souls 2 it kept you from losing your humanity. It also does that in Dark Souls 1. Dark Souls 2 I guess it was better because it kept you from losing health percentage as well. But it's kind of meh in this game because there is no humanity to lose, so there's really no reason to have a rare Ring of Sacrifice, so they don't. And then the normal Ring of Sacrifice is like, much rather just have a ring that did something. Alright, the best thing to do is about the twin brothers over here. Just kind of lure them away and parry them like a pro. I probably shouldn't say that, as you've seen my parrying in this game is very rusty, it's not very great. But practicing it is important. It's the best way to deal with most of the big enemies in the game. Most of the humanoid enemies, at least. Although, whenever we get to Irithil, we'll find some humanoid enemies that just... I don't even want to think about it. These things are so hard to parry. They do so much damage. And I believe you will take counter damage if you try to parry and miss. Which, that means you actually take increased damage. So I'm trying to bait out a parry over here, and I somehow hit it with a big old bush in my face. Oh, that sounds great, doesn't it? Ignoring that, I somehow managed to hit that parry, and I said it's really easy. I mean, it does over half their health. If you can get the parrying down, those guys really aren't that bad. That'll be ironic here soon. So heading to the kind of main Lothric Castle area here and talk to Emma.
The wait has been long, unkindled one. I am Emma, High Priestess of Lothric Castle. Allow me to speak frankly. You will not find the Lords of Cinder here. They have left, gone, to their journey homes, converging at the base of this castle. Head to the bottom of the high wall, forge on through the great gate, and raise this banner to proceed. This farewell gift is for you. It is the insignia of an old covenant. If you fear trespassers, dark spirits drawn by the embers, then etch this upon your heart, and the old Concord will beckon noble blue sentinels to hunt these foul spirits. Unkindled one, head to the high wall's base. Go through the great gate and raise this banner, but beware.
So, just a quick side note. Please equip the Way of Blue Covenant item. If you don't have any other Covenant items equipped, which you mainly don't need to have any other Covenant items equipped when in the game and not doing invading, then you should have the Way of Blue equipped because it'll allow blue sentinels to spawn whenever you're invaded, allow them to get their Priest of Concord kept. Trust me, it makes things a lot easier on them. Just farming Silver Knights for them is not fun. Either way, back to the task at hand here. We have a blue Lothric Knight with red eyes. Now this might be the only blue one with red eyes. There's another one with red eyes in the actual Lothric Castle proper, but it has red on it. So I don't know why this guy necessarily has blue on him. I believe it actually means he might have been siding with the Angel Knights that we met earlier. Either way, this guy is pretty much like a normal Lothric Knight, except for he does a ton more damage, and I think has even more stamina. As you can see, that was over half of my health bar from one attack. This guy does not play around. Also, I don't have any Estus flasks. So things are not looking good. I completely whiff on the firebomb, and then my katana doesn't do enough damage to break his poise, and we have the first death of the series. Get used to seeing that screen pop up a lot. Either way, we come back and we get to try this guy again. Yeah, Dark Souls 3 is probably easier than Dark Souls 1 would do, but it's still a Dark Souls game. It's still gonna kick your butt no matter what. This fight here actually goes a lot better. I managed to pull off the parry here, even though it looks like I was way late. And once you get the parry on these guys, it's pretty easy just to get up behind them and just combo them out afterwards. I actually got kind of lucky this guy didn't try to turtle behind his shield, because it can make it really hard to be able to kill him if he does that. And then you end up getting a refined gem from killing him, which is okay. Again, probably not worth the difficulty of killing him, especially considering you won't be able to even use the refined gem for a while because you won't have the stats to use it. Now pick up the Lucerne here. Again, just parry this guy like a god, and then you're good. Lucerne, it's halberd type weapon. Never really used the things. Don't know why. Not really my deal. I'm more of a swordsman myself. But I hear that it actually is a pretty good weapon. So, and it's something that I didn't even find my first time through the game because I didn't know there was that back area there. And then when I finally did know there was a back area and saw there was a Lothric Knight, I was like, nah, maybe not. When you're new at this game, those Lothric Knights will probably be one of the biggest hurdles for you in the high wall Lothric area. So we have a bit of an ambush over here because you have the two guys that you can see, the two spearmen, but there's also a crossbowman off to the side that you can't see. And he actually nails me right here even though I know he's there. He's hiding up amongst the bodies here, and he actually blends in really well. There's a nice camouflage going on. But now we're pretty much done with High Wall of Lothric. All we have to do is go back and talk to Grey Rat and we'll have everything. Dark Souls decides to be kind of weird and freeze for a second here, which is kind of scary considering that Dark Souls does like to crash a lot. But either way, yeah, that's pretty much it. All we got left now is the boss of the area, Vort of the Boreal Valley. I can say that because even if you haven't ever seen this boss before, knowing the name does not tell you anything in a Dark Souls game. So yeah, we'll be able to get to him next time and have some fun. It looks like he wants to say goodbye as well. So either way, see you next time, guys.